The rescue mission. The vast expanse of space stretched out before the ISS horizon, humanity's most advanced deep space vessel. Commander Ilara Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the star-speckled void. The ship had been tracking a distress signal for days, following it to the outer reaches of explored space. "Commander, we're approaching the source of the signal," Lieutenant Marcus reported, his fingers dancing across the holographic display. "It appears to be coming from a small planetoid in the Zeta Reticuli system." Ilara nodded, her short black hair barely moving as she turned to face her crew. "Prepare a rescue team. We don't know what we're dealing with, so I want everyone on high alert." As the horizon entered orbit around the barren planetoid, the crew detected signs of an abandoned mining operation. Scans revealed a network of underground tunnels and a single life sign, faint but persistent. Ilara led the rescue team herself, donning an exosuit and stepping into the shuttle. As they descended through the planetoid's thin atmosphere, she couldn't shake the feeling that this mission would change everything. The shuttle touched down near the entrance of the main tunnel. Ilara and her team moved cautiously, their helmet lights cutting through the darkness. The air was thin but breathable, and their suits compensated automatically. "Life sign is getting stronger," Corporal Zhang reported, checking her wrist-mounted scanner, about 500 meters ahead. As they ventured deeper into the tunnel, signs of a struggle became apparent. Scorch marks marred the walls, and debris littered the ground. Whatever had happened here, it hadn't been pretty. Finally, they'd reached a sealed door. The team worked quickly to bypass the lock, and as the door slid open, they were met with a sight that made even the battle-hardened Ilara aghast. In the center of the room, suspended in a stasis field, was an alien creature. Its body was slender and ethereal, with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer even in the dim light. 4 arms hung limply at its sides, and its large, almond-shaped eyes were closed. "My God," Marcus whispered. "Is it alive?" Ilara approached the stasis field, her heart racing. This was humanity's first contact with an alien species, and it was happening under her command. She studied the control panel, noting its advanced design. "Zhang, see if you can deactivate this safely," Ilara ordered. "Marcus, prepare medical support. We're bringing our new friend home." As Zhang worked on the controls, the alien's eyes suddenly snapped open. They were a deep, mesmerizing purple, and they locked onto Ilara with an intensity that made her breath catch. In that moment, she felt a connection, a spark of understanding that transcended language and species. The stasis field flickered and died, and the alien collapsed. Ilara rushed forward, catching the creature in her arms. It was surprisingly light, its skin cool to the touch even through her suit. "Easy there," Ilara said softly, knowing the alien couldn't understand her words, but hoping her tone would convey her intent. "You're safe now." The alien's mouth moved, producing a series of musical clicks and whistles. Ilara's translator worked furiously, but couldn't make sense of the language. "Let's get back to the ship," Ilara decided. "Our medical team can take better care of him, her, it." As they made their way back to the shuttle, the alien never took its eyes off Ilara. There was fear there, yes, but also curiosity and something else. Hope, perhaps. Back on the horizon, the medical bay was a flurry of activity. Dr. Patel, the ship's chief medical officer, ran scan after scan on their alien guest, who had been placed in a quarantine chamber as a precaution. "Fascinating," Patel muttered, reviewing the results. "The biology is completely unlike anything we've ever seen. The cellular structure, the organ systems, it's extraordinary." Ilara stood nearby, watching the alien watch them. "Can you tell if it's male or female? Or if those concepts even apply?" Patel shook his head. "Not yet. We're still trying to understand the basics of its physiology. But I can tell you this, it's in rough shape. Signs of malnutrition, old injuries that never healed properly. Whatever happened down there, this being has been through hell." The alien suddenly sat up, Its four hands pressed against the transparent wall of the quarantine chamber. It began to vocalize again, the sounds more urgent this time. "I wish we could understand you," Ilara said, stepping closer. She placed her hand against the outside of the chamber, mirroring the alien's pose. "We're here to help. You're safe now." To everyone's surprise, the alien's next sounds were different. Halting, imperfect, but recognizable. "As safe? Help." The medical bay fell silent. The alien had spoken English words. "Yes," Ilara said, her voice thick with emotion. "We'll help you. Can you understand me?" The alien nodded slowly. "Learn. Fast. Psychic. Link. Name. Zeph." Ilara smiled, her heart soaring with the implications of this breakthrough. "It's nice to meet you, Zeph. I'm Commander Ilara Chen. Welcome aboard the ISS Horizon." Zeph's purple eyes blinked rapidly, and a tear-like substance rolled down its cheek. "Thank you, saviors. Ilara, friend." "Yes, Zeph," Ilara replied, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. "I'm your friend, and together, we're going to change the universe." As the Horizon broke orbit, leaving the lonely planetoid behind, neither Ilara nor Zeph could have imagined the adventures that lay ahead. Their meeting had set in motion a chain of events that would reshape the relationship between their species and redefine humanity's place among the stars. The rescue mission was complete, but the real journey was just beginning. Cultural clashes and understanding. As the ISS Horizon cruised through the inky void of space, the ship buzzed with excitement and apprehension. News of Zeph's rescue had spread quickly, and crew members found excuses to pass by the medical bay, hoping for a glimpse of their alien guest. Commander Ilara Chen spent every free moment with Zeph, marveling at the alien's rapid progress in learning English. Through a combination of Zeph's natural aptitude and the mysterious psychic link the alien had mentioned, communication became easier with each passing day. "Tell me about your people, Zeph," Ilara asked one evening, sitting cross-legged on the floor of the quarantine chamber. Dr. Patel had deemed it safe for limited contact, and Ilara had immediately volunteered to be the primary liaison. Zeph's iridescent skin shimmered as the alien considered the question. "We are Lissari, peaceful, explorers of mind and spirit." Zeph's four hands moved gracefully, adding emphasis to the words. "But others, not peaceful. Gruthar. They came, took us." Ilara frowned, piecing together the fragments of Zeph's story. "The Gruthar, they're the ones who imprisoned you on that planetoid." Zeph nodded, a human gesture the alien had quickly adopted. "Yes, they want our gifts, our connection to the beyond." As Zeph spoke of the Lissari's unique abilities, telepathy, empathy, even glimpses of possible futures, Ilara felt a mix of awe and concern. Such powers could revolutionize human society, or tear it apart if misused. "We'll protect you, Zeph," Ilara promised. "The Gruthar won't harm you or your people again." Zeph's large purple eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of emotion Ilara had come to recognize. "Gratitude, Ilara. But danger follows. Gruthar will come." The warning hung heavy in the air, a shadow over their growing friendship. As the days passed, Zeph's health improved, and Dr. Puddle reluctantly agreed to let the alien explore the ship under supervision. The crew's reactions were mixed. Some, like Lieutenant Marcus, were openly fascinated, peppering Zeph with questions about Lissari culture and technology. Others, like Security Chief Ava Rossi, remained wary, always keeping one hand near her weapon when Zeph was around. Tensions came to a head during Zeph's first visit to the ship's mess hall. As Ilara explained the concept of human cuisine, a young ensign approached their table, his face twisted with disgust. "How can you sit there and act like this? Thing belongs here." He spat. "It's not natural. We should have left it where we found it." Ilara stood, her voice sharp with command. "Stand down, ensign." That's an order. But the damage was done. Zeph recoiled, all four arms wrapping protectively around its slender body. The alien skin, usually a vibrant swirl of colors, had faded to a dull gray. "Zeph, I'm so sorry," Ilara began, but the alien was already retreating, moving with inhuman grace towards the exit. Ilara found Zeph hours later in a rarely used observation deck, staring out at the stars. She approached cautiously, not wanting to startle her friend. "May I join you?" she asked softly. Zeph turned, and Ilara was struck again by the depth of emotion in those alien eyes. "Always welcome, Ilara. But perhaps your crew not feel same." Ilara sighed, settling down next to Zeph. "Some humans fear what they don't understand. It doesn't make it right, but it's a part of our nature we're still working to overcome." Zeph was quiet for a long moment, contemplating the vast expanse of space before them. Lizari once sang, long ago, "Fear nearly destroyed us, but we learned, grew, opened minds and hearts." The alien skin rippled with shades of blue and green. "Perhaps humans can learn too." Ilara smiled, feeling the surge of affection for her alien friend. "I believe we can, Zeph. And you're helping us take that first step." Their conversation was interrupted by the ship-wide comm system. "Commander Chen to the bridge immediately. Unidentified vessels approaching." Ilara stood, her posture immediately shifting to that of a leader ready for action. "I have to go, Zeph. Will you be all right here?" Zeph nodded, but there was fear in those purple eyes. "Be cautious, Ilara. I sense darkness approaching." As Ilara rushed to the bridge, her mind raced. Had the Gruthar found them already? Was humanity about to face its first interstellar conflict? The bridge was a hive of activity when she arrived. Lieutenant Marcus looked up from his station, his face pale. "Commander, we've got multiple ships on an intercept course. They're not responding to hails, and their weapon systems are hot." Ilara took her place in the command chair, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her gut. "Red alert. All hands to battle stations. Let's show these Gruthar what happens when they mess with humanity and our friends." As klaxons blared throughout the ship, Ilara couldn't help but think of Zeph, alone in the observation deck. Whatever came next, she silently vowed to protect her alien friend, and the promise of a new era of interstellar cooperation. At all costs. The horizon's shields hummed to life as the first volley of enemy fire streaked across the void. The battle for humanity's future among the stars had begun. A looming threat. The ISS horizon shuddered as another barrage of energy weapons impacted its shields. Commander Ilara Chen gripped the arms of her command chair, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Shields at 68% and holding," Lieutenant Marcus reported, his fingers dancing across his console. "Their weapons are powerful, but our defenses are holding up better than expected." Ilara nodded grimly. "Return fire, all batteries. Target their lead ship's propulsion systems. I want them immobilized, not destroyed." As the horizon's own weapons blazed to life, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about this attack. The Gruthar ships, while formidable, weren't pressing their advantage as aggressively as she'd expect from a species Zeph had described as ruthless conquerors. "Commander," Security Chief Rossi called out, her voice tense. "We've detected a data breach. Something's probing our computer systems." Ilara's blood ran cold. The attack wasn't just physical. It was a diversion. "Shut down all non-essential systems. Activate our cyber defense protocols. We can't let them." Her words were cut off as the ship's lights flickered and died, plunging the bridge into darkness. Emergency power kicked in seconds later, bathing everything in an eerie red glow. "Status report," Ilara demanded, fighting to keep the panic out of her voice. Before anyone could respond, a new voice filled the bridge, a harsh, guttural sound that sent shivers down Ilara's spine. The universal translator struggled for a moment before kicking in. "Humans, you harbor a fugitive of the Gruthar Empire. Surrender the Lissari specimen, and we may yet spare your primitive vessel." Ilara stood, her jaw set in defiance. "This is Commander Ilara Chen of the ISS Horizon. We don't respond to threats, and we don't abandon our friends. If you want Zeph, you'll have to go through us." The Gruthar voice laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "So be it, human. Your species' first contact with galactic civilization will be its last." The communication cut off abruptly, and Ilara turned to her crew. "I need options, people. How do we get out of this?" As her officers scrambled to devise a strategy, the door to the bridge slid open. Zeph stood there, the alien skin pulsing with swirls of deep red and purple. "Ilara," Zeph said, voice trembling. I am sorry. This is my fault. I should leave, give myself to them. Save your people." Ilara crossed the bridge in 3 quick strides, placing her hands on Zeph's shoulders. "No, absolutely not. We're in this together, Zeph. Your fight is our fight now." Zeph's eyes widened, a shimmering tear sliding down its cheek. "But why? You risk everything for one alien." Ilara smiled, despite the dire situation. "Because it's the right thing to do. And because you're not just one alien anymore. You're our friend, our ally, and maybe something more." The moment was interrupted by another violent shake of the ship. Marcus called out, "Commander, they're launching boarding pods." Ilara's mind raced. They were outgunned and outnumbered, but she refused to give up. Humanity had come too far, achieved too much, to fall at its first real interstellar challenge. "Zeph," she said, an idea forming. "You said your people have gifts. Telepathy, glimpses of the future. Is there any way you could use those abilities to help us?" Zeph hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Perhaps, but it is dangerous, unpredictable, and I would need help, a mind to connect with, to amplify." Ilara didn't hesitate. "Use me. Whatever it takes, I'm willing." "Commander," Rossi interjected, "we don't know what this could do to you. It's too risky." Ilara turned to her security chief, her expression resolute. "The lives of everyone on this ship, and potentially the future of humanity, are at stake. I'm making the call." She turned back to Zeph, extending her hand. "Let's show the Gruthar what humans and Lizari can do together." Zeph reached out, its 4 hands enveloping Ilara's. The alien skin began to glow, a soft blue light that spread to encompass them both. Ilara gasped as she felt a presence in her mind. Alien, yet somehow familiar. Zeph's voice echoed in her thoughts. "Open your mind, Ilara. See as I see. Feel as I feel." The bridge of the horizon fell away, and Ilara found herself floating in a sea of possibilities. She saw flashes of potential futures, the Gruthar boarding the ship, her crew fighting valiantly but falling one by one. She saw Earth, burning under the onslaught of a massive invasion fleet. But she also saw hope, glimpses of a future where humans and Lizari stood side by side, exploring the cosmos and building a better galaxy for all species. With Zeph's guidance, Ilara focused on the immediate threat. She could sense the Gruthar ships, feel the intentions of their crews, and suddenly she knew exactly what to do. Ilara's eyes snapped open, blazing with an otherworldly light. "Marcus, adjust our shield frequency to 327.5 MHz. Weapons, target these exact coordinates." Her hands flew over her console, inputting a series of numbers with uncanny precision. The crew hesitated for just a moment before springing into action. The Horizon's systems came to life, its weapons finding weak points in the Gruthar ships that should have been impossible to detect. Within minutes, the tide of battle had turned. The Gruthar vessels, their supposedly impenetrable defenses shattered, began to retreat. As the last enemy ship winked out of sensor range, Ilara sagged in her chair, the connection with Zeph fading. She felt drained, but exhilarated. We did it," she breathed, looking up at Zeph with wonder. The alien nodded, its skin now a calm, soothing blue. Together, Ilara, as it should be. As the crew of the Horizon celebrated their victory, Ilara knew that this was only the beginning. The Gruthar would be back, and Earth needed to be prepared for the challenges and opportunities that awaited them in a wider galaxy. But looking at Zeph, seeing the trust and affection in those alien eyes, Ilara felt ready to face whatever the universe might throw at them. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger world, and they wouldn't be walking that path alone. United we stand. The weeks following the Gruthar attack were a whirlwind of activity aboard the ISS Horizon. As the ship limped back towards Earth, its crew worked tirelessly to repair the damage and prepare for the monumental task ahead, introducing humanity to the reality of intelligent alien life. Commander Ilara Chen spent long hours in debriefings, explaining every detail of their encounter with Zeph and the Gruthar to increasingly high-ranking officials via secure quantum communications. The weight of her responsibility was immense, but she drew strength from the unwavering support of her crew and from Zeph. The Lizari had become an integral part of the Horizon's makeshift family. Even the most skeptical crew members had warmed to Zeph after witnessing the aliens' crucial role in their victory. Zeph's natural curiosity and gentle demeanor had won over hearts and minds, paving the way for what Ilara hoped would be a bright future of human-Lizari cooperation. One evening, as Earth loomed large in the ship's viewports, Ilara found Zeph in their usual spot in the observation deck. "Big day tomorrow," Ilara said, settling down next to her alien friend. "How are you feeling?" Zeph's skin shimmered with a mix of blue and gold. Excitement tinged with nervousness, Ilara had learned. Anticipation, hope, fear, all swirling like the stars we've traveled. Ilara nodded, understanding all too well. "I feel the same way. Everything's about to change, Zeph. For all of us." The alien turned those mesmerizing purple eyes on her. "Change can be good, Ilara. Seeds of great things, planted in upheaval soil." "Poetic as always," Ilara chuckled. Then, more seriously, "Whatever happens down there, Zeph, I want you to know that you'll always have a home with us. With me." Zeph's lower pair of hands reached out, gently clasping Ilara's. The touch sent a warm tingle up her arm. "Together," Zeph said simply. "As it should be." The next morning, the Horizon entered Earth's atmosphere in a blaze of controlled fire. News of their arrival had been carefully managed, but crowds still gathered at safe distances around the landing site, a specially prepared facility outside of Geneva, where the world's leaders had assembled. As the ship touched down, Ilara took a deep breath, straightening her dress uniform. She turned to Zeph, who wore a shimmering robe that complemented the alien's iridescent skin. "Ready?" Zeph nodded, all four hands clasped in a gesture of determination. "Ready." The Horizon's main airlock hissed open, and Ilara stepped out into the bright sunlight, Zeph at her side. A hush fell over the assembled dignitaries and media as they caught their first glimpse of humanity's new alien ally. Ilara's voice rang out, clear and strong. "People of Earth, I present to you Zeph of the Lizari, friends, allies, and fellow explorers of the cosmos." What followed was a whirlwind of introductions, explanations, and negotiations. Ilara and Zeph stood side by side, fielding questions from world leaders and scientists alike. They spoke of the wonders they had seen, the dangers they had faced, and the potential for a new era of interstellar cooperation. Not everyone was convinced. Some voices cried out in fear, demanding isolation and militarization in the face of alien threats. But for every doubt, there was a moment of connection. A child's eyes lighting up at Zeph's shimmering skin, a scientist's excited gasp at the mention of Lizari technology, a diplomat's nod of understanding as Ilara explained the importance of unity in the face of cosmic challenges. As the day wore on, Ilara found herself in a private meeting with the Secretary General of the United Nations and other key world leaders. "Commander Chen," the Secretary General began, her voice grave. You've given us much to consider. The opportunities presented by this first contact are immense, but so are the risks. The Gruthar threat cannot be ignored. Ilara nodded. You're right, Madam Secretary. But I believe the answer lies not in fear or isolation, but in embracing this new chapter of human history. The Lissari have offered to share their knowledge, their technology. Together, we can prepare Earth for its place among the stars. An admiral spoke up, his voice gruff. And what guarantee do we have that these Lissari won't turn on us, like the Gruthar? Before Ilara could respond, a soft glow filled the room. Zeph stepped forward, skin pulsing with calming blues and greens. The alien's voice was melodic, touched with the faintest hint of its natural clicks and whistles. Honored leaders of Earth, Zeph began, I stand before you not just as a representative of the Lissari, but as a friend to humanity. I have seen the courage, the compassion, and the boundless curiosity of your people. In Commander Chen and her crew, I have witnessed the very best of what your species can be. Zeph's four hands moved in graceful gestures, emphasizing each point. The galaxy is vast, filled with wonders and dangers beyond imagining. But it is not in hiding that we find strength. It is in unity, in the bonds we forge across the stars. The room was silent as Zeph's words sank in. Ilara felt a swell of pride for her alien friend, and for the potential she saw in this moment. The Secretary General was the first to speak. Well said, Zeph of the Lissari. I believe I speak for many when I say that we are honored to extend the hand of friendship to your people. As the meeting concluded, plans were set in motion for a new era of human-Lissari cooperation. A joint task force would be established to prepare Earth's defenses against potential Gruthar aggression. Cultural exchange programs would begin, allowing humans and Lissari to learn from one another. And most excitingly, a new class of starships would be designed, combining the best of human and Lissari technology. That evening, as celebrations erupted around the world, Ilara and Zeph found a quiet moment alone. You were amazing in there, Ilara said, her voice filled with admiration. I think you single-handedly convinced half the world's leaders to embrace our alliance. Zeph's skin rippled with pleased purples and pinks. Not alone, Ilara. Together, as always. Your strength, your conviction. It flows through me. Amplifies what I can do. Ilara felt a warmth spreading through her chest. The connection she shared with Zeph had grown deeper than she ever could have imagined. It transcended species, transcended the very notion of what relationships could be. As they looked out over the twinkling lights of Geneva, the first stars becoming visible in the darkening sky, Ilara knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them side by side. Human and Lissari, two species united by friendship, respect, and perhaps something more. The journey that had begun with a distress call in deep space had led them here, to the threshold of a new age for humanity and the Lissari alike. And it was only the beginning. A new dawn for both species. 5 years had passed since the day Ilara and Zeph first set foot on Earth together, and the world had changed in ways few could have imagined. The skyline of Geneva, once dominated by the elegant spires of old-world architecture, now featured the sweeping curves and shimmering surfaces of Lissari-inspired buildings. The new United Galactic Council headquarters stood as a testament to the successful integration of human and alien cultures. Commander Ilara Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood at the window of her office, gazing out at the bustling city below. The streets were filled with a colorful mix of humans and Lissari, going about their daily lives as if the idea of interspecies cooperation had always been the norm. A soft chime announced a visitor, and Ilara turned to see Zeph glide into the room. The Lissari skin shimmered with hues of warm gold and deep blue. Happiness and contentment Ilara had long since learned to recognize. Big day, Ilara said with a smile, reaching out to clasp Zeph's hands in greeting. The touch still sent a pleasant tingle through her, a reminder of the unique bond they shared. Zeph nodded, purple eyes twinkling. Indeed, the launch of the ISS Unity, a dream realized, at last. The Unity was the culmination of years of joint human-Lissari engineering efforts. A massive exploration vessel, it combined the best of both species' technologies and was crewed by an integrated team. Its mission: to seek out the Lissari homeworld and establish formal diplomatic relations with the species Zeph had been separated from for so long. As they made their way to the launch site, Ilara couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them to this point. There had been challenges, of course. Cultural misunderstandings, political opposition, even a few attempts by extremist groups to sabotage the alliance. But for every setback, there had been a triumph. The development of Lissari-inspired medical techniques had revolutionized healthcare on Earth, nearly doubling the human lifespan. In return, human creativity and adaptability had helped the Lissari refugees who had followed Zeph to Earth to overcome their traumatic past and flourish in their new home. And always, there had been the looming threat of the Gruthar. But united, humanity and the Lissari had built defenses that now protected not just Earth, but a growing number of colonies throughout the solar system. At the launch site, a crowd of thousands had gathered to witness history in the making. Ilara and Zeph took their places on the stage alongside other dignitaries. As Ilara prepared to give her speech, she felt Zeph's reassuring presence in her mind. A now familiar touch that never failed to center her. People of Earth, honored Lissari guests, Ilara began, her voice carrying across the hushed audience. 5 years ago, we stood on the brink of a new era. We faced a choice: to embrace the unknown, or to shrink back in fear. We chose courage. We chose unity. And look at how far we've come. She gestured to the gleaming ship behind her, its hull a seamless blend of human and Lissari design. The ISS Unity represents the best of both our peoples. It carries with it not just our hopes and dreams, but a message to the galaxy at large. We are no longer alone, no longer isolated. We stand together, ready to face whatever challenges the universe may bring. As Ilara spoke, she could feel the emotion rippling through the crowd. Humans and Lissari alike were moved by the magnitude of the moment. This wasn't just the launch of a ship, it was the beginning of a true interstellar civilization. To the crew of the Unity, Ilara continued, "We entrust you with a sacred mission. Find the Lissari homeworld. Extend to them the same hand of friendship that Zeph extended to us. Show the galaxy that cooperation, not conflict, is the path to a brighter future for all." As the speech concluded and the countdown began, Ilara felt Zeph's hand slip into hers. They watched together as the Unity lifted off in a blaze of light, climbing higher and higher until it was just a twinkling star among many. Later that evening, Ilara and Zeph stood in their favorite spot, the observation deck of the orbital station that had become their home. Earth rotated slowly beneath them, a beautiful blue marble suspended in the vastness of space. "I wish I could go with them," Zeph said softly, a hint of longing in the alien's voice. Ilara squeezed Zeph's hand gently. "I know, but your place is here, helping guide our peoples forward. And when the Unity returns, you'll be the first to welcome your people to their new allies." Zeph turned to Ilara, those mesmerizing purple eyes filled with an emotion that transcended species. "My people are already here, Ilara. You, the crew of the Horizon, the humans who have opened their hearts and minds to us. You are my family now." Ilara felt a warmth spread through her chest. The bond she shared with Zeph had deepened over the years into something beautiful and unique. Not quite human love, not quite Lissari pair bonding, but a connection that bridged both their species. Together, Ilara said, echoing the word that had become their mantra. "As it should be," Zeph finished. As they gazed out at the stars, Ilara thought about the journey ahead. The Unity's mission was just the beginning. There would be new challenges to face, new civilizations to encounter. The Gruthar were still out there, a threat to be reckoned with. But whatever the future held, she knew that humanity wouldn't face it alone. In rescuing a single alien from a forgotten planetoid, they had forged a bond that would reshape the galaxy. Human ingenuity and determination, combined with Lissari wisdom and insight, had proven to be an unstoppable force for progress and peace. The story of Ilara and Zeph, of the ISS Horizon, and the dawn of Earth's interstellar age would be told for generations to come. It would inspire countless others to look to the stars not with fear, but with hope and wonder. As the Unity disappeared into the depths of space, carrying with it the dreams of two species, Ilara and Zeph stood hand in hand, ready to face whatever the cosmos might bring. Together. The end of one chapter and the beginning of an even greater adventure.